thanks so much for joining me today. If you have any type of knee or hip issues, this leg workout will be great for you. So I'm going to take you first through some body weight exercises, then we're going to use a mini band, and then I'm going to show you some different things using a stability ball really quick, and then just a tennis ball to loosen up. So we got the whole thing covered, so get ready, here we go. All right, let's jump right in. We're going to do bridging. So if you can lie back on your back, I want to have you scoop and roll the vertebrae up. You're trying to lift from the glutes, not from the hamstrings. If you lift from the hamstrings, what you want to do is pull the foot closer to your body, drive the heel down, and then get a little more of a scoop. So on the bridging, you want to work 10 to 15 repetitions. You could always work higher and then begin adding more sets. So anywhere from 1 to 3 sets is a good starting point. Here I go more of a single leg. That's called a cook hip extension. Here we're going to, if you're safe on going down on all fours and there's not a pain on your knee, you want to focus on getting some hip mobility. A lot of the pain on the knee is usually going to be from the hips and glutes. We want to get the hips and glutes really firing because that's going to be a good protector for that knee joint. First one was fire hydrants here. So I just lift the leg out. This one is kind of like you're bringing the leg up and around as though getting onto a horse, and then you'll get off a horse. So I'm going to swing the leg out and then around. On these ones, anywhere from 10 to 15 reps, again, 1 to 3 sets. You don't want to be down on your knees too long in that position because you don't want to create any kind of strain. You could always put a foam pad, kind of make sure it's nice and soft if you feel okay on that. Here I just go one leg forward for support, trying to focus on pushing down through the leg. So I'm coming down and then I'm driving back up through my hip. You notice that I'm not rounding my back. And to make it a little harder, we go single leg deadlift. Hamstrings are great to protect from ACL tears. So this is a great exercise. Both exercises are going to be able to get the hamstrings working up through the hip and glute, which we want to get firing. We want to get the hamstrings and the hips and glutes really working into these movements. Again, focusing on keeping the hips level, drive that back leg back. And on these ones, we're going about 10 reps on each of them, 1 to 3 sets. So you want to be able to start with 1 set, make sure you're feeling okay, and then be able to begin working up. Last one is just a regular deadlift. You could always add a little bit more load. I just do it with body weight to kind of show an example. Here we're going to do a lunge matrix. There's 3 different movements I'm going to show here. First one is a forward sagittal reach. Kind of pretend as though you're picking up after somebody. Picking something up off the ground. And I just drive back through. That's a good deceleration on those hamstrings. Great work through the hamstrings. We want to get those hamstrings and glutes firing again. Now we're doing a frontal plane lunge. Now I'm just going side to side, trying to focus on pushing my hip back, lengthening the leg that I'm stationary on. So that's the leg that I'm working. That's going to get that inner leg to work, the adductor to work. That's also good for protecting ACL tears. For a lot of skiers, that's a great exercise. Here I'm doing a transverse movement. So now I'm rotating. I'm keeping that leg stationary as I showed there, and I'm turning and rotating. So as I turn and rotate, that's a good transverse movement. Great for opening up the leg through the hips. A lot of injuries happen when we rotate, so that's a good exercise to protect it. Okay, now we got the band. So what we're going to do on these ones is get some hip glute firing. A lot of glute medius, glute minimus, glute max, and we're going to get those muscles firing in some different sequential manners and being able to really tie in protecting those knees. I want to focus on keeping my knees wide. Kind of think of if you were bow-legged, you want to keep those knees out. And I just take short little baby steps. These are called monster walks. The last one for the matrix, you'd want to go about 8 to 12 reps. This one, I'm just going 3 to 5 steps. And you could add in even more steps, but be able to do repeated patterns. It's a great movement. Here we're doing what's called the mini band walk. Trying to stay stationary. I'm not rocking my hips or my shoulders. I'm trying to stay level and keeping the feet apart, knees apart. And I'm just doing the example of showing with the knees bent. There's also legs straight to be able to add that extra dynamic movement. And then for this one, now I'm going to do squats. So great thing is if you were able to do leg presses or squats, you want to get the band around your knee if you own a band, because that's going to get that glute medius firing really well.
Okay, here I'm going with clams. So getting just that rock in there through glute medius firing, really good activation there. That's a good stabilizer. Helps to protect that knee joint from caving in when you're doing leg movements. And I'm trying to make sure that I don't round or rotate. So I want to make sure I'm not rotating my body. I'm just lifting from that leg. Here you can go for all the way up to a minute on each side, doing a couple sets, as well as bridging. So I'm trying to focus on keeping those knees wide. That's going to get the glute medius firing with the glute max. So it's going to take a little bit of the load away from the hamstrings on that one. And then this one's a little harder. If you notice that I kind of turn my hip forward, I'm doing straight leg, side lying straight leg abduction. And as I bring my leg up, I don't have to bring it up too far, and I'm going to feel that contraction right there on that outer part, that abductor for the glute. Okay, now doing ball squats. So if you happen to have a stability ball, I'll show you a few different things used in a stability ball. Trying to again focus on pushing those knees wide. Just go to the range of motion you feel comfortable with. 10 to 15 reps, begin working on that one. And then we're going to do bridging. So again, 10 to 15 repetitions again on this one. If you notice, my knees don't move, just my body drops down. So as my body drops down, I'm caving, dropping the hips down, and then I push up through the glutes. And then hamstrings, again, protector for those ACL tears. And from here, if you're able to get in that knee flexion, I just have 90-degree knee flexion, and I'm working on building the hamstrings.
All right, now to be able to finish up your workout, if you have a tennis ball, what I want you to do is you could either put it in a sock or just come back against any type of wall. What you're going to do is you're going to push it back here against your hip and glute. I'm going to turn my angle a little bit at a 45-degree angle, and I'm trying to push my body against that area. Taking big deep breaths, breathing right here from the diaphragm, and then you're going to work on the other side. So you don't have to roll around and find different movements, but a lot of the knee pain, as I've already mentioned before, is found in those hips and glutes. So this is a great way to loosen up. Thanks so much for joining me.